Hello everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Now, we have a non-Bachelor video. That's right, Bachelor is not coming back till July 11th, 2022. And, people are looking around. What else can we watch out there? I've got a Netflix show called The Ultimatum. I've checked it out for you. Is it worth watching? I'm not going to give away any spoilers here, but we're going to discuss it. If you want to talk about spoilers in the comment section, who you liked, who you didn't like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, go for it. If this video performs well, we're going to continue to coverage the show. So do me a favor, if you're new here and you want to follow Ultimatum, but not necessarily Bachelor content, hit the subscribe button. You'll know if it's one versus the other. I will always let you know in the titles if we do have spoilers to talk about. We will not talk about spoilers in this video. And also follow me on Instagram at DNeals, right down there, patreon.com/DaveNeal for behind-the-scenes content as well. All right, so what is the ultimatum? Well, we've got Nick Lachey and his wife Vanessa Lachey here. They host Love is Blind, of course. He's of boy band fame, 98 Degrees, if you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. Either way, this is what they got going on. The ultimatum is essentially 6 couples where someone in the couple has decided that they are going to tell their partner, either by the end of this, you're proposing to me and we're getting married, or we're going our separate ways. So there's 3 outcomes. Either we get proposed, or we break up and single, or we break up and I start dating someone else from this pool of 6. So there aren't many people to choose from, which is probably one of the bigger flaws, I think, in this show. But I still think it's worth it. I think the show will probably get a couple new seasons and adjust and probably figure out what worked and didn't work, because things happen in this show, 2nd, 3rd, 4th episode, things happen that completely throw, a wrench in the gears here, that completely change things up. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'll play a couple previews for you guys. So the creators, this is what they had to say. This is what the creators had to say. We love the relationship space. The idea that these shows are really relatable and really compelling and very real beyond whatever happens on the show. All of that is very attractive about producing in this genre. Now for the long answer, sure, the concept may sound extreme, but 3 weeks, you and your significant other will each live with someone else from another pairing to get a glimpse at married life before moving back in together for the final portion of filming. But it is actually an all too relatable situation for many viewers facing the big C, commitment. Look, an ultimatum is a very relatable thing, and the situation that the couples find themselves in is very relatable. I think every person, I certainly have been, every person has been in a situation where you are in a relationship for a while and one of you or your partner is ready to get married and the other one isn't quite as sure. I was the one who wasn't quite as sure. Or people that have been in that situation, and sometimes people feel like they want an answer. So we'll go to the different cast members here. Let's click out of here. So we've got 6 couples. I'll tell you which ones I like and don't like, and this has nothing to do with the outcome of it all. My favorite guy up front was COLBY. He was my favorite guy. He just seemed like he was getting a bad rap. His girlfriend here, MADLYN, essentially hates him. I mean, she doesn't like him at all. You see this right away. He's like, I want to propose to her. She's the one. And then Maddie's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, he's just, and then it's like, really. But as things go along, you just see the toxicity that comes from couples that don't necessarily know how to communicate or give each other their space. I will say this, the biggest issue I have with the show on a production side of things is that when they do a couple swap, and all the couples here most of them do a couple swap, when they do that, the cameras aren't with them all the time. So there's a lot of like, he said, she said, and what happened, but we didn't get it on camera. So it's good in the sense that we kind of have to speculate, but it's also bad in the sense that we're used to watching like The Bachelor, where everything is on camera when it's filmed. But it does come off a little bit more docu-series in the way that they're followed. And then throughout the episodes, we'll have all the guys get together and all the girls get together, which is a little crazy because all the guys are getting together talking about their new relationships, but in the middle of their new relationships, it's their fellow guy's ex that they're talking about. So they do like a hard break when this happens. Does this make sense? So that's my favorite couple, but they all really kind of have some redemption to them. This is I liked this couple the least up front, just the least, Alexis and Hunter. Alexis has a moment where she gets rejected, not necessarily by this guy. Again, these are just like light conversation points here, so you're not losing anything, just in case you want to watch it. she gets rejected by somebody, and you get to see her take that rejection the wrong way and start accusing that person of being a bad person and starts trying to sabotage their love life, all because someone was honest with her and being like, I'm just not that into you. So you get to see really up front the dumpster fire that exists around putting cameras in people's faces and dealing with rejection and all that. And so I think, I could be wrong, but I believe that out of these 6 couples, 4 of the 6 are women giving the men the ultimatum, but there are instances where the man is giving the woman the ultimatum. We have this couple right here, Lauren and Nate. Now, it's interesting, right? Because we're watching it thinking so-and-so's not into so-and-so, and then when push comes to shove, when they actually do the hard break and they're supposed to date other people, you have these moments where people start acting kind of crazy. They start, it's like a buyer-seller market. You're like, all right, no, like you start to see the jealousy, and honestly, if I had to, not a psychologist here, but out of these 6 couples, you think that there's about one person here that's purely psychotic. You can decide who that is. And I'm not throwing that term around. I'm not a psychologist, so I couldn't say for sure. But I think statistically, 1 out of 100 people is truly psychotic. And there's for sure a lot of narcissism in here. And there's for sure a lot of just wildly, people that expect too much. What we have with this couple, which I love them. I love how complicated they are. Is April is very much a smothering of Jake. We find this out right away. Through that smothering, Jake's like, I don't know if I want to propose, because April wants a proposal. She wants babies. They're like 23, right? And you get to see the reason why people do procrastinate moving forward in relationships. I'm guilty of this myself. I wrote an article on Medium called Why I Procrastinated My Proposal. And a lot of times, a lot of the excuses that are made through people going like, I'm not ready for kids, whatever. It's lack of financial stability. That's what it comes down to in a lot of cases. And then you have people go, oh, that's such a BS line, No, but I actually stand by. I go, look, we live in a world right now where it's almost impossible to buy a home if you don't have a ton of wealth. People are trying, the middle class is shrinking, so it's hard to come by a good job. There's all these different things going on. Who wants to bring a baby into the world? Who can afford an engagement ring even? Because once you get engaged, well, the wedding's going to cost you, and I'm planning my wedding right now, and it's like, oh my gosh, is everybody trying to rip me off? Quick answer, yes. So you've got all these things stacked against you, and then you've got, in a lot of cases, one person who has to wait for the other person. Now, I wish we lived in a world where a woman could ask a man, hey, will you marry me? And some do, but the high percentages where we live in this world, in our reality, is that the burden goes on the man to propose to the woman. And a lot of times, men stall, they drop the ball, they don't have the same sort of urgency. So we see that, I believe 4 out of the 6 couples, you see that play out where the guy's like, look, I just got out of the Marines a year ago. I'm still working my way into society. I don't know if I'm ready to have kids. I don't know. So we see all of that. We also see a pregnancy scare happen. We see, in my biggest question when I was going to start watching this, and I'm not going to give away too much here, was, will they just automatically start hooking up with other people? Because the experiment is this. So let's take this couple here. So if we have Shanique, if she puts Randall on the spot and she says, Randall, get it together. Either marry me or go on your separate way. Well, she doesn't necessarily want him to just hook up with someone else on the first day, but there is that exchanging of notes that's going to happen when they come back together. So that's how it works. We get to meet each couple, then they go apart for 3 weeks with their other couples, and then they come back together. And when they come back together, it's like, well, did you hook up with the other person? Okay, did you make out? How far did you go? It's like, even though there's that hard break and then getting back together, there's still how real is the situation? How real is it? Are they going to get with what goes down? And then I think the last couple we didn't really talk about yet was Zay and Ray, which again, what we see is we've got 6 relatively, six very attractive couples, some of different lengths. They're not all perfectly matched, but what you get to see is that if Zay and Ray do break up, Ray's gonna be perfectly fine meeting someone else, and Zay's a good-looking guy, and they're going to be perfectly fine dabbling in other waters. So is the relationship you're in the one worth staying in, or is there something better else out there, something else better out there? And what we learn, you know, as it plays out, is that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but sometimes it is. Sometimes the grass is greener on the other side, and you are in a toxic relationship. I think it's worth watching, because I think we can all see past relationships where and maybe some of you current, where we're in this position where we're like, just because it's working right now does not necessarily mean that's the one, but what can I do to change to bring a better version of myself into the relationship? And that's how it all plays out. Let me know what you think. Feel free to share any spoilers in the comment section. I'm telling you right now, the comment section's spoiled. If you've watched it, who do you like, who don't you like? If this video performs well, I'll do a more in-depth reporting of where the couples are now. But go check it out. It's on Netflix. It's the #1 show. And we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bye, everybody.